Okay guys, today we're going to do 2.1 adding integers, and we have a couple of rules we need to go over, and the first one is same sign sum. So just like a regular problem that you've done in elementary school, 3 plus 5. 3 is positive, 5 is positive, 3 plus 5 is 8. So if the numbers have the same sign, you add them. Just like if you have a negative 3 plus a negative 5, you have a negative 8. The signs are the same, you add the numbers, and you keep the sign. And then if the signs are different, you subtract the numbers and you keep the sign of the number that's larger, and we'll talk about that in a second. So let's use the number line. On the number line here, we start at negative 2 plus negative 4. So we start at negative 2 right here, and we're moving 4 spaces in the negative direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you end up at negative 6. And like I just said, 2 negatives plus 4 negatives, add the numbers and keep the sign negative 6. Or if I owe you $2 and I borrow $4 more, I now owe you $6, or I am negative 6. Okay? Then it says here, let's go erase that. When you use a number line to add integers, you use the same signs. You move to the right or in the positive direction on the number line when you add a positive integer, and you move to the left or in the negative direction if you add a negative integer. So let's go down here and let's do this one, 5 plus negative 5. So we're going to start at positive 5, which is right here, and we're going to move 5 spaces in the negative direction because we're adding a negative 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and my jumps are really big, but you would end up at 0. Okay, another way to do it without using a number line is to use integer chips. So if I have 5 plus negative 5, I start with 5 positives, and I add 5 negatives to that because we're adding them together. And if you remember, a negative and a positive together cancel each other out. If I have a positive 1 and a negative 1, that's a 0 pair that equals 0. So each one of these pairs cancels each other out. So again, 5 plus negative 5 is 0. Or if I have $5 and I give you $5, I now have $0. All right, let's do now where we have different signs. Different signs, you find the difference. So you subtract the numbers and you keep the sign of the number that's larger. Okay, when you're thinking about the number that is larger, you're thinking about the absolute value, the distance from 0, not whether it's a negative or a positive number. So negative 12 plus 6. We start at negative 12, and we need to move 6 spaces in the positive direction. Okay, so you add 6, which is what we're doing right here, and you end up at negative 6. So negative 6 plus 12, you subtract the numbers, and you keep the sign of the number that has more. 12 has more. There's more negatives than positives, so your answer is negative 6. Or again, down here in the picture, you have 12 negatives. You add 6 positives. Remember, the 0 pairs cancel each other out, just like we talked about last chapter. And whatever you're left with is your answer. So our answer is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 negatives. Okay, we're going to go to the next page. Okay, so on the back of the picture, you have some problems. So, question number 1 is negative 2 plus negative 3. Okay, so they are the same sign, so you're going to add them. Negative 2 plus negative 3, you add them, and then you keep the sign. Number 2, negative 4 plus negative 5. Same deal, same sign sum. You add the numbers, and you keep the sign. Number 3, they are different signs, so you're going to subtract. This one's negative. So 7 minus 4 is 3, and you keep the sign of the number that has more. There's more negatives than positives, so your answer is negative 3. Number 4, negative 6 plus negative 4. Same sign sum, you add them and you keep the sign. Number 5, -3 plus 5. Different signs you subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2, and your number that has more is positive, so your answer is positive. Number 6, 5 plus 8. That's back to first or second grade. That's just the basic fact, 13. Number 7, -3 plus -4 plus 5. These are same sign, so you add them, you get -7. Now you have different signs, so you subtract, keep the sign of the number that has more, which is -2. Okay? Leave 8, 9, and 10, and we'll go over them with each in class tomorrow. Have a good night.